3.
Yummy like a gummy bear.
It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this for September 13th, 2024. For the next hour or so, let me help you sort through the world of gaming here on Game Mess Mornings Live with me, Jeff Grubb. Today, a major Nintendo game is leaked online, and price increases seem to be slowing PlayStation 5 sales in at least one territory. But first, please join me in welcoming today's co-host of Game Mess Mornings. It's Tamoor Hussain, everybody. Tam, how are you doing?
I am back. I am here, and I'm ready to talk about some absolute bottom of the barrel news stories.
Yeah.
Let's fucking go.
Thursday it gets pretty good. We got the last couple Thursdays I've been doing shows. It's like, hey, there's plenty to talk about here. And then Friday's sort of just the remnants of that. And it really, I mean, dregs is the best way to describe it. It's what's left over at the bottom of that cup.
It's what we do best, though.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah. We're going to make a meal out of it. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm tired. I'm yawning. I'm ready.
It is Friday. I'm looking forward to the weekend. I'm going to take it easy after a lot of travel this summer and stuff. Going to have an easy weekend. Looking forward to that. You got any games though lined up or that you're going to catch up on?
I have games that I will be playing that I will not say the names of.
Hell yeah. Okay. So yes.
For good reasons.
So catching up on real work.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm kind of going to just give myself permission to play some of these games that are in the very recent backlog, like Star Wars Outlaws. I want to play more of that. Space Marines 2. We're going to play some of that on the site today, everybody. But then I'm going to try to beat that game because it's not too long. And I'm it would just feel good to beat a game. Not that it's I ever put too much of an emphasis on that when I'm playing a game for fun, because it's who cares? I like to play games because I like to play games, not because I like to have see credits. That doesn't mean too much to me. And I say that, and sometimes it still feels good to see those credits. So I might try to make that happen.
I will be watching this.
Ooh, okay. Oh, man. Batman Beyond was very good. This is the Batman
rewatch.
I lost you there for a second. Man, Discord's been acting up this week.
Weird.
It's not on you or me, I don't think. This is Discord being kind of a piece of shit. Batman Beyond was...
I'll also be reading this.
Ooh, new X-Men. I never read that. How is it? Is that John Cassidy? Did he work on that?
No, this is recently canceled Grant Morrison.
Oh no! Well, listen, they all get canceled, and God, Neil Gaiman is getting canceled, rightfully so. Apparently,
wait, did Grant Morrison get canceled? I think Grant Morrison did get canceled.
Maybe Grant Morrison's doing all right. I have no idea.
Someone tell me whether Grant Morrison.
We can't keep it straight anymore, everybody. Yeah, everyone in chat's like, wait, what did he do?
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's just still a weird magician man, but
which is a huge positive. That's parentheses non-derogatory.
No.
We want weird magician people doing our comic books. Absolutely. All right. Let's explain what we do here, which I barely even know anymore. Most weekdays, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with a little bit of a PSA. Zelda Echoes
Grant
of
Morrison
Wisdom
is not cancelled. That's the PSA.
Woo! We did it, everybody.
Sadly, Warren Ellis is.
Warren out. Okay, yeah, see, and you can mix those up. I mix those up constantly. I can play them all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, all right, fair enough. From Ollie Reynolds at Nintendo Life, Echoes of Wisdom has reportedly leaked online in full. If you're active on social media or online forums, you might want to start muting keywords or simply opt to spend your time elsewhere, because it looks like The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom has leaked online almost 2 weeks before its release. So basically, people can play it in emulators.
At this point, I feel like it's not a controversial thing to say that we need to shut the online down.
Yeah, the internet, especially after that recent Internet Archive case, where I'm like, that was the last good thing on the internet, and they're going to try to get rid of that shit. It's, I'm kind of getting bummed out every time I log on, as the kids say.
To the online. Every time I hear about the online, people on the online are doing something very weird.
Either Shannon Sharp is going live on Instagram Live.
My man just rocked up to Instagram, the live service in which the live events in your area are being beamed to hundreds and thousands, potentially millions, and began shagging.
Just going to town on
And
that
you know
lady.
what? ESPN went, it's all right.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's cool.
Yeah.
How is a man who does that in media? That is the most boomer-coded thing you could possibly do.
That's like also very coded in the way that every ESPN host has ever been. I don't even know if he's at ESPN anymore. I think he had like went to Fox and came back to ESPN maybe, but he it's just like, what's his name? Stephen A. Smith with the, hey, check this out, and then just copying the name of a file on his computer into Twitter, and it's just image_46.jpg. All those guys are the same way. So I find it very familiar and comforting. And then I don't know if this Deshaun Watson maybe having a burner account. I don't know if
I personally, here we are, right? I feel like we've got too comfortable with sex-related stuff on the online.
Yeah, I mean,
like everything is empowering. Like I feel like there's some situations. What the fuck the only Squirrel Girl I know is the Marvel
Mrs.
character, Miss Squirrel Girl, who is a absolute delight. She defeated Galactus very easily, which is very amusing to me. The rest of it, I have no idea what you're talking about.
I think there's apparently a Squirrel Girl in some fighting game. What was that, Sean? Mike Minotti's been harping on Squirrel Girls all week. You know how he gets.
Squirrel Girl's great. But like, I feel like we should like
Makoto from Blaze Blue.
Oh, okay. Now we're talking. Okay.
Incredible.
Okay. But Shannon, like Sharp, should like he's not even like remotely embarrassed by this.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, he said the words, "I'm embarrassed." He did not act embarrassed.
There's been no repercussions. I feel like if we're not going to have shame about this, we should have a period of time where you're allowed to be ruthlessly like made fun of.
Yeah,
like for the next like 6 months of ESPN broadcasts, people should be allowed to poke fun at him.
Oh yeah,
and make fun at him for being like. There's a confirmation prompt before you go live. How did you do this?
And
lunatic
just threw it on his bed and went to town.
Yeah.
So yeah, the online was a mistake, and Zelda Echoes of Wisdom is leaked on there as well. People are worried about spoilers. I get it. Nintendo's put out a lot of trailers for this game and has shown a lot. So if you're worried about spoilers, also avoid the trailers, I suppose. The game will be out in a couple of weeks. Nintendo, I know, hates this. They clearly hate this. And I think it will inform a lot of how things work on the Switch too, I bet.
If anyone can shut the online down, it's Nintendo.
So we'll see, but this is a story we've seen with these big games on Switch every time now for years. So it's not some big surprise. But yeah, if people are worried about this, you're just gonna have to go mute the terms on Twitter or avoid social media and message boards. And when someone does post something about this game and says spoilers, it's probably like real deal spoilers.
Yeah, it's probably real spoilers.
Yeah. So yeah, but you're gonna have full playthroughs of this game online starting today. So yeah, look out for that.
There's going to be like, spoiler, Zelda is the girl.
Yeah,
and everyone's going to be like, what the
fuck? Look, she took off her mech suit, and look underneath here. She's got a bikini on. It's crazy.
Did you ever tell the story of talking to Nintendo about the Lord of Spiders?
I've told it somewhere. I don't know if I told it on Game Mess Mornings, but it was this game. I was told by a friend to ask Nintendo about the Lord of Spiders, and I said, "Tam, that would make me sound crazy." That I'm like pretty hesitant about doing that. The opportunity did present itself when we got our extended demo of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom at PAX West, where they were like, "Hey, you can kind of solve these things in any way, but you can't talk about the exact solutions for this stuff as part of the embargo." And so I clarified. It's like, well, can we like explain, like, if like someone were to say solve everything in this entire demo, this 90-minute demo that is about showing off all the different powers, what if they only use spiders? And every single Nintendo PR person and the security guy, everyone immediately was like, Oh, are you talking about Tamoor Hussain, the Lord of Spiders? That me and Dan and Mike just look at each other like, all right, okay. I guess his reputation did precede himself.
Yeah, baby,
Absolutely.
that was one of the greatest days of my life. Where
It was
a
very
Nintendo employee looked at me and was like, "You cannot do this with only spiders." And I looked back at him and I was like, "You have no idea what you've just done."
Yeah.
And then I proceeded to complete every part of that demo used by only summoning a spider. And they were like, "What the fuck?"
This was a PR, the product representative from Nintendo. His name was Jason. He did the demo for us as well, and he just looked so like haggard about it. Like, I'm supposed to show these things off, and he just wouldn't. It was just all spiders. It was
all spiders. It was like, well, there's a mechanic. He's like, oh, there's this mechanic, and I looked at him, and he went, "Oh, stop."
Yeah, which again, I think this story is going to help people understand what that game is really about.
Exactly. You can do it's like so open ended.
It sounds like an immersive sim because it kind of is.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I was able to do it because I played a crazy amount of immersive sims.
Yep.
I was like, I'm doing a spider run.
It was very, very, very cool, very fun, and the game delivers on that stuff because when things go wrong, it's also very funny. Mike set himself on fire by using a bed to like move fire from one spot to the other, but then he stood on the bed and caught on fire. Very funny game. I'm looking forward to it. Out later this month, but people are going to be playing it right now. All right, Astrobot launch sales seem fine. They seem maybe they're fine. Brought this from a couple places. First from Christopher Dring on Twitter. Astrobot's UK launch is solid, he says. First week sales are 21% higher than the debut of Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart in 2021. Astro was number 2 last week behind Space Marine 2, which was the UK's fastest selling Warhammer game ever, beating Total War Warhammer 3. And then he also clarified that the games early on can do well despite the lower install base, responding to someone saying there's fewer PlayStation 5s when Ratchet & Clank sold, so only doing 21% better than that maybe isn't great. But he's like saying there was more excitement maybe at that time for every game, and Ratchet & Clank is also an established IP and an action game, which lends better to week 1 performance. And he says, sales seem okay to me, but nothing amazing. And then to add to that, separately, Astrobot was number 2 on the Japanese weekly sales chart behind Toho, Danmaku, Kagura, Fantasia Lost, probably.
You nailed that.
Thank you. I'm sure I got that perfectly right. Physically, Astrobot moved 12,672 copies in Japan.
What about emotionally? Right? How much did Astrobot move emotionally? We're always talking about physical movement of games. When will we start talking about emotional movement of games?
I mean,
because I personally, Jeff Grubb, was 1 million emotionally moved by Astrobot.
I think if emotions can be spent by a corporation, I think this is going to be the biggest one yet. This is definitely number 1 all time. It is a blockbuster in emotions. 12,000 isn't a ton, but also there were reports that the game sold out in Japan and was sold out on Amazon Japan and at multiple retailers. So maybe they didn't just show. What is going on? Is there a portal to heaven in your home?
What the fuck is going on, man?
And I heard like a humming.
Christ.
It's okay. For audio listeners, a bright light came to take Tam away from us. He's still there. He refused it.
I'm here, yeah. I was like, no, I'm not ready.
Yeah, not ready to get raptured.
I've got more problems to make around here.
I think Astro's going to be just fine. What? Tam, is that your Elgato light or what?
No, it's just a light.
A light is randomly turning up several million degrees? What is it?
Christ. I am sorry. Like
that's okay. He's all right, everybody. If you listen, if the light comes for you, maybe next time, just like okay.
Maybe I think it might be my time to go.
Right? Yes, exactly. Not that it's not a bad thing. I don't think.
No,
not if it's that bright.
Bye, everyone.
I think Astro's going to be fine. I think that word of mouth will get it through the holiday. I did get in my head a little bit that it seemed like word of mouth was already popping off, and the thing would just explode out of the gate. And maybe it is. Maybe these week 1 sales are going to lead into even stronger week 2 sales. But I don't know. Word of mouth is probably going to help this game quite a bit through the holidays. What do you think?
Yeah, word of mouth, and it is a prime like pack-in game.
Yeah.
Like if they don't pack this into like a holiday bundle, they are cuckoo bananas. And if they don't pack it into like a PlayStation 5 professional bundle, then they're even more cuckoo bananas. It feels like it will definitely get a boost from over the next few weeks by word of mouth. I feel like Sony is now like reaping what it sows to a degree, where it's like so we are about a certain type of game.
Yeah, this is what I'm worried about.
We now, there was a time where you would associate PlayStation almost to, not exactly the same, but to a similar degree to Nintendo when it comes to like the type of games they make. Variety, the appeal of it.
Yep.
I feel like the target demographic, the specific target demographic, not the people who also enjoy it. The target demographic for Astrobot has been so like pushed out of what PlayStation accommodates and represents that they might just not even be looking. Like they might be somewhere else right now. They might be on Switch, they might be some on PC, maybe I doubt Xbox, but but like they might just not be aware of it enough that the install base is there for it, which is again reaping what you sow. I'm probably wrong, and I hope I'm wrong because I really want this game to succeed.
I think you're right, and I think that is something that can also change quickly when people like sort of have an epiphany. It's like, oh, what the hell? I love this game too. I think that can happen in an instant, and I was expecting that instant to happen the moment the game launched. I think it's going to be a process over the next few months as more and more people like look around for a game, especially, you're right, as they get the PS5 Pro, if it's not packed in, if it's right there as an option, be like, hey, this is a new, and not that it's going to, it doesn't seem like it's going to have PS5 Pro features. The game just already runs the way they want it to run, but whatever. I still think when people get new hardware, they'll look for a game to get, but this is sitting there as the big shiny new game that just got a 94 on Metacritic and is in the Game of the Year discussions. That is going to be part of that process of convincing people to like give that a shot. But I think you're right that it's just not the game that a lot of PlayStation gamers are looking for. Drink said it. I tend to agree with this, that if this game had the Nintendo logo on it, it probably sells 4 times as many copies right out of the game.
It would pop off with its top off. It would be crazy, but sadly no. Do you think, this is a crazy question, I think I know the answer.
Would love to hear it.
Do you think this game comes to any other platforms?
I mean, it comes to PC for sure, right? But
do you reckon, like the licensing on that?
You're right. Maybe there are contracts. I didn't think about that.
There's like 1 trillion characters in there that belong to other people, but I assume that if they were,
maybe if they were smart enough,
yeah, exactly. Like if they were smart enough to build that kind of language into whatever negotiations that we're doing in perpetuity, maybe it would work. I would be fascinated to see if this came to PC, or even more than that. Like, would it come to like a Switch 2 or something like that? That could be interesting.
I mean, with Lego Horizon on Switch this holiday, apparently.
After that, anything is possible.
It does feel like anything's definitely more possible than it's ever been. I don't think it's impossible the thing ends up on Switch 2. Yeah, you're right. But I think they'll find a way to get it on PC if what we just talked about with the legal stuff is not an issue, which you're right. I guess I had not been thinking about that. I guess there is another side to this story that is maybe one of the reasons that the game sold a little bit slower is that people were just weren't out as much buying new PlayStations because of the price increase, which is our next story. PlayStation 5 sales plummet in Japan following recent price hikes. This is from Alex Hopley at Game Reactor.
This news story is the equivalent of that guy holding a gun to himself. That is this news story.
The one that
the meme of the guy,
the gun where it's like backwards and it's like he's holding forward and it's pointing right at him.
No. It's the guy, but it's a second version of the guy. Like it's a replica. Oh, he's holding a gun to his own head, but it's a second version. of him.
Okay, yes, totally, yes, absolutely, right. It 100%. And it felt like these companies were getting away with most of these price increases, and maybe this is just one too many, or maybe it's the combination of the PS5 Pro being like right on the cusp and a lot of people being aware of that. But from Alex Hopley at Game Reactor, PlayStation has had a roller coaster of ups and downs over the last couple of weeks. First, there was the whole Concord debacle. Then came the high of Astrobot being the highest rated game of the year so far, following by the mixed bag of responses to the PS5 Pro, and as well as a price hike to the PS5 in Japan. Understandably, the latest development for Sony and its price hike hasn't gone down well, and the console managed to sell half of what it did last week in this week's sales. As reported by Famitsu, the console just got 11,800 units sold. Not a great sign, especially as we're about to see the launch of an even more expensive machine. For comparison, the Switch sold 67,473 units in Japan, which was up from the previous week. And PS5 sold 33,865 in the previous week, so it was down, 66%. That's not the right math, but yeah, down a lot. And then it did 43,000 in the prior year. So price cuts seem to really hurt this system in particular. Do you think part of that was people just waiting for the PS5 Pro, and now that they see the high price of that, maybe that we could see like a replication of this sort of people go like balking at the price?
Yeah, I think so. I just everything around this reveal of this Pro has been very confusing. Like, I don't understand how a company that has released multiple pieces of hardware, mostly significantly successful, so a couple here and there that might have flopped a bit, could make like such a weird, confusing approach to announcing a new piece of hardware. Like, it feels like everything that he did in announcing the PlayStation 5 Pro was designed to hurt itself. It's very confusing. I'm so baffled by all of this. Like, between the level of the price, the fact that the price is not the issue. The issue is they didn't present the value proposition along with the price 100%. In a way that's easily communicable. Like, we have like Richard at Digital Foundry now coming out and being like, "Oh, this thing is worth it." Basically, saying like you're paying for a 4070, basically, and there's Sony super sexy texture upgrade system or whatever it's called. Yeah, whatever it's called. Like, that apparently is like too legit to quit, and like it's doing stuff that the other. We made the Jaggies smooth
it's definitely going to be better than FSR, or there's no reason to do it. FSR exactly. Is kind of junk.
Like, none of that was like effectively communicated at all. So people are just kind of left there looking at this thing and going, "Do you just want us to give you $700? Like, if that's what you want, just tell us." It's so weird. And now, in kind of like the kind of fallout of that is something like this, where prices and they jacked up the price of the original in preparation for this. Like, that's the case.
100%, yeah.
And now that the people have seen the PlayStation 5 Pro, and then now they're thinking back, probably in Japan, at the price of the change in the original, and they're like, why would I do this? Like, this is crazy. I'm not going to buy this thing. Especially if they now can see it and like, this thing is closer to the new version that's coming out. I'm not going to buy it.
Yep.
It's a very, very strange move that makes zero sense to me. And I am completely unsurprised by the fact that sales have plummeted in Japan following the price hike, and also following the likely, and I expect it will be similar, following the announcement of a new version of the console that is even more expensive.
Yeah, I agree with you that it's baffling. I think the only reason that it ends up here is the company is going to do this thing, and they're kind of building the marketing in front of them as they go, and they're like kind of waiting for things to fall into place, where it's like, what is the easy marketing message that we did with the PS4 Pro, which was, you got a 4K TV, here's the 4K console. Very easy. They want something like that, and they're like waiting for that obvious marketing beat to present itself, and it never did. So now they're stuck kind of going like, all right, we're going to talk about the technical stuff and make that make sense. And the reality is they're actually just not very good at making that messaging. It's a tough thing. It's actually, it requires a lot of skill and understanding of the mediums that you're working in, like YouTube. Like, they clearly didn't understand what they were doing on YouTube with the tiny little windows and just the kinds of details they were showing off, where it's like, you understand the majority of people are going to be watching this on their phone. A lot of people might be watching on their TV. A lot of people watch YouTube on their TV these days, but they're far away from that thing. None of this is going to show off well, especially with YouTube compression. They just didn't know what they were doing.
And when you zoom into like a tiny texture, it looks gross on both sides.
Yeah,
like they zoomed in and they were like, look how good this looks. I was like, fuck, that looks awful, man. You just like zoomed in on a pimple basically and showed me two different versions of it. Stop it.
Yep.
It is baffling that they would do it like this. And also, like, it just has led to immediately the discussion around, like, what does this mean for PlayStation 6?
I mean, that's going to be the full question today.
I think that is the worst thing that has come out of this.
It's like, a bad sign that people are like worried about that already.
Yeah, a console that has not even been mentioned by Sony. and people are already like, I don't know if I'm going to get that thing.
Well, I think
I wouldn't be surprised if this is the generation where more PlayStation owners, or that is the generation where more PlayStation owners move to PC than ever before.
Yeah,
like if that thing comes out
at, but I don't care. Yeah. You're right.
If that thing comes out at like $1,000, that's gonna be real fun. Like I think way too many companies think they're Apple, and not even Apple is Apple anymore.
Yeah, and I get all the justifications that people give me in comments where it's like, people buy $1,000 phone every year, and it's like, honey, these
it's fucking stupid.
Yeah, and these aren't phones. These aren't. Yeah, it's not something you're carrying with you every day.
Yeah, the immediate utility of $1,000 phone.
Yeah,
is,
I make money by having a phone. Like I use it to like create content and to make business deals, to talk to people that are connections and stuff like that. That's a console is a very specific thing. Let's just be realistic about this.
Yeah, and also like to be clear, I don't want that to happen. I want PlayStation to thrive. I love PlayStation consoles and PlayStation games in the same way that I love Xbox, PC.
I'm probably going to get a PS5 Pro.
I'm probably going to get one as well. Yeah, exactly. And I am the freak that they're talking to. Yes. But I'm looking at the other three freaks that they want to be talking to, who are like, "What the fuck?"
And I'm just like, I think it's worth criticizing still, because it just seems a little bit like they do this because they feel like they can do it, and I want them to, wine and dine me a little bit better than they have, to make me feel better about this purchase. They aren't making me feel great about it right now. The PS6 probably isn't. It's probably 4 years away from today.
Yeah.
But
anyway, the Steam Deck is on sale for $300.
Yeah, but it's like the price. Do you think it's got to be at least $700 when it launches, right? PS6.
I think a minimum. I think this is exactly what everyone thought it would be. This is setting the table, the levels for the next PlayStation, and they very much could be worth every penny.
Yep.
Like the PlayStation 5 was
case.
The PlayStation 5 was pricey compared to previous generations, but I firmly believe that it earned its keep in that way.
Yeah, a lot of people did spend $700 on that thing on eBay, and I don't hear a lot of people complaining about that purchase.
No, it could. I think the other thing is like that really disappointed me in the PlayStation 5 Pro is they just showed off all the games, man. Like I know how difficult it can be to have a brand new game to be like, look at what this can do, but the fact that they just showed off shit that everyone's played and has is
the real problem with that is that the stuff that they talked about, right? Where it's like, here are these games that you've played before, and here they are with good ray tracing and 4K at 60 frames per second. It's all of the same points that we heard when the PS5 launched.
Exactly.
And now they're like, but we're really doing it this time. And making that, we were Boy Who Cries Wolfing on this a little bit. Like, I believe it more this time, but it's just not a compelling argument. That's all that we're saying, really.
How hard would it have been for them to like show off all the like intricate details and then slowly zoom out, and it's an image from Ghost of Tsushima, and it's an image that, the first ever image of Ghost of Tsushima, the sequel, Ghost of Tsushima 2, and they're like, we will have more on this game soon.
Yep.
And that's it. Like, you don't even have to talk about how it runs on that thing. Just show any sort of reason to get excited about PlayStation.
Yep.
And they just didn't do anything like that. It was just like, here's old game, here's old game, here's old game. And like, great, Spider-Man looks better. I won't be playing it. I'm good. I'm not doing that.
And I think the anxiety.
Show me some of Wolverine's bare ass and zoom in onto his hair. Well, zoom into his butt crack hair.
This would be a great place to announce that like Venom game, that standalone that's apparently coming. Do that here. I mean,
anything. Do anything but show me the same games that you've already got. Because guess what? Already paid for them. Not going to be paying for a device to try and be like, oh, I'm going to play The Last of Us 2. No, thank you. I will not be playing that game ever again.
Yeah, that's just not what consoles have usually made their pitch. I think the anxiousness that some people have when we talk about over on PC, I'm pretty happy, and they don't want to hear that. They want to be on console. I think they feel that especially now because it feels like they have fewer options than ever. And Sony does not feel the pressure from the competition of Xbox, and they don't feel like many of their gamers are actually going to go to PC. They feel like they got a huge audience locked in, and they're treating them that way. And I get why people are sort of bristling at that, but I don't know who to blame there at a certain point.
Yeah, and the reason why I get so up in my feelings about it is because I really want consoles to remain successful.
Yes, I want them to
I want them to be more successful than ever.
Yeah.
I want them to come in and start kicking PC's ass a bit. You know what I mean? Like start like shaking Nintendo around and punching Xbox in the penis. Like do that kind of shit. But like if you can't be coming in and like tripping over your own foot and then being like, love me, I'm cool.
Yep. I think it's perfectly right for us to be like, this was a bummer of an announcement, and I wish they would have done better. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, plenty more headlines, including some mess happening over at Annapurna Interactive right after this. All right, we're back, and real quick, hey, Sam, I got my jacket that you helped me get with the gift card for my birthday. I finally ordered something. It's really nice. It's reversible. It's great. I'm very happy with that. It's very cool.
I completely forgot about that.
You got me a gift card. I almost forgot about it, and then I used it. So I'm glad I remembered. All right, let's see here. Annapurna Interactive's entire workforce has resigned. This is from Jordan Midler at VGC, by way of Jason Schreier over at Bloomberg. The entire workforce of Annapurna Interactive, the video game publishing division of Annapurna Studio, has resigned. As first reported by Bloomberg, Annapurna Interactive president Nathan Gary and his team resigned following a dispute with the group's owner, Megan Ellison. Following discussions to spin the video game publishing arm out into an independent entity, of which Ellison pulled out, 24 members of staff resigned from the company. All 25 members of the Annapurna Interactive team collectively resigned, Gary said in a joint statement. This was one of the hardest decisions we've ever had to make, and we did not take this action lightly. We don't know a lot of exactly what happened here. I think Lexi did mention something here. Adding to this, Blade Runner 2033 may no longer be in active development as it was being worked on internally at Annapurna Interactive, and there was a crossover between production staff at Annapurna and the development team. So some projects do seem to be following through. As part of the fallout of this, what's up?
Blade Runner? What Blade Runner? What?
Blade Runner 2033? Yeah, I remember this being kind of like a. Let me see if I got this video here. This was announced a year ago. I'll put it up on for everybody so they can take a look at it here.
Oh, Labyrinth. Oh, gotcha.
Yes, Labyrinth, right.
The adventure game. All right. I thought you were talking about a new movie.
No, right. Yeah. So there's some like weird stuff to navigate through here. People might remember recently that Remedy signed a deal with Annapurna. That was with Annapurna Studios, the movie side of things, to help
the pictures part of it,
to help fund the games and get access to the IP for movies and television. Remedy was always going to publish Control 2 on their own, so that they are not affected by this. It doesn't seem. A lot of other projects though are at Annapurna Interactive. Megan Ellison claims that they will continue to support and publish those games, but with what team? She's going to have to build a new one, I guess. We'll see how that goes. And then why did this happen? We don't know exactly why yet. Jason Schreier says he's got a new report coming out in a couple of weeks that will go into some of those details. In the meantime, it sounds like these people just hated Megan Ellison and did not want to work for her. That's my guess. I don't know. Isn't she
like a billionaire or something?
Larry Ellison is the billionaire founder of Oracle Enterprises or whatever it is, a big, the tech conglomerate, does a bunch of B2B services for big corporations. Oh
no, I just Googled him. This man has done too much plastic surgery.
Yeah, he's real messed up. He looks like
what's funny about people who do like a lot of plastic surgery?
Nothing.
Eventually, every single one of them looks the same, like each other.
Yeah,
it's really funny to me. They're like, I'm going to improve my face into looking like every other person who does this way too much.
Yeah, you're already beautiful, everybody. Please don't do this to yourself.
Yeah, just leave it.
This is a weird one. That's like, I would imagine 25 people all talking to each other and saying, we need to get out of here. Comes down to, we are the reason this company is anything. We know that if we all leave together, maybe we can go do something on our own, or we can all get our own jobs. We know we feel comfortable about that, but we are the talent here. We're the reason this whole thing goes around. So I hope that it seems like they probably have a plan, but they clearly did not want to work here anymore. What do you think?
They're going to come back with Sarah Perna. It's like we found another white girl name.
There's another.
We're back, baby. Yeah, I feel like
Annapurna is a very white girl name. You're right, though, for sure.
Yeah. I feel like this is it's a case of probably in large part knowing your own value and knowing what you bring to the table. And according to Schreier's thing, it was a whole thing about like trying to spin off into its own thing, right?
Yes,
and have like an independent.
It was going to be independent. Yes.
Yeah, which is, I guess, to someone who's the billionaire child of someone with a weird face, is going to be like, control is being taken away from me. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they came back and Schreier's next thing was like, she didn't want to have someone else take the reins and not have as much control. This is just speculation. But yeah, I feel like those people, they clearly have done a fantastic job at building up the game side of Annapurna to where it is now. They've got an eye for that stuff. I think like they did, what was it, Outer Wilds was one of them? They
published Outer Wilds,
which that alone is like a pretty big deal. If you publish Outer Wilds, you're like, yeah, we found this game.
Yeah, we're good at this. I mean, they have like a list of hits.
Yeah, they got like Cocoon and Stray and a few others. So, I mean, like, and that is the people finding that. That is those people
making
finding
those deals
that.
happen.
Yeah. So if they, I feel like they've got a strong portfolio that they can take to other investors or whatever it may be to set up a new thing and be like, hey, we are the people who found these games. Look what these games became. Give us money to set up a new thing, Annapurna, and we'd like to do the same, and maybe you'll get a piece of that pie, provided you stay out of our way and don't get involved into this.
That sounds exactly right to me.
And that is like a very viable thing,
right?
To make happen.
I think there are still investors out there looking for a team that could do exactly that, and if you have an entire team ready to go, because like what they want is a team that can find hits and that has the know-how about helping to bring those hits to market. If you could do that, then it'd be really nice to be like a Donkey and be able to just have a built-in audience. They love that shit too. But if you have the know-how about putting a game out and how to find these games, that's really what the investors want. They'll show up with some money and give this team a lot of money, and I think they'll be able to kind of make some hay out of this now that this has fallen apart in front of their faces. And really, I think this is them making a stand. So clearly, they feel good about moving on. I hope it kind of all plays out for them.
And also, like, it's time to hold these companies accountable. Like, if this is genuinely a thing where like people are overreaching or whatever, I mean, like, barring a situation where Jason Schreier reveals every single one of these people that left us are wronging, like, I'm not willing to believe like there was some sort of issue on their side. Like, and knowing that you have the power, this is effectively a little union move here, which is like, they're not a union, but this is what unions would do.
Yeah, but they're acting in unison for sure.
Yeah, exactly. They'd be like, no, we know what we're worth. We know what you need, and you need us, and we're out later. And that is it. Like, you have seized the means of production, and you are the means of production.
Yep. Shout outs to the Boeing workers union. Get yours from that shitty company. All right. Next story. Embracer's potential sale canceled for Metro's 4A Games and pinball dev Zen Studios. This is from Andy Robinson at VGC. Embracer has announced the proposed sales of Metro developer 4A Games and pinball developer Zen Studios have been canceled. The pair of studios had been included as an option in the $247 million sale of the Saber Interactive division to a group of private investors. However, on Friday, Embracer confirmed that the deal has now been settled, and the option to include 4A and Zen in the deal have been canceled. They're now going to remain with Embracer Group. And not doesn't sound like they're shutting down or anything. They are going to keep making these games, but they're just going to do so under Embracer instead of Saber. I don't know. There's two sides to this where I think if I were a developer making a game, I'd probably feel more comfortable under Saber than Embracer. But Saber, people do point out, Saber still has like some ownership in Russia, and if people draw their line there, I totally get it. I talk to people at Saber every once in a while, and they're human beings making games, and they are not Russian assets. They're just people making good games, and they've made really good games back to back to back. And I don't draw the line there for this team personally, but I get it if people do. Hey, if you're happy that Metro is going to be at Embracer instead, I guess I kind of get it. But I don't know. This is a weird one to me. How do you parse it?
I mean, like, I have Embracer is in a not Embracer, Saber is in a weird position, but like you said, the people there aren't they're not representative of the unfortunate ownership kind of pieces of the pie that are in weird places. I am just always I'm of the opinion that everyone should try and get unembraced.
Yeah, probably for the best.
Provided they have the ability to go somewhere else and continue making games and remain employed and that kind of stuff. I think Embracer, again, I will continue to say it, one of the worst things to happen to media in a long time, especially video games.
And the Lord of the Rings, which they own.
And the Lord of the Rings, of course, which they now own. And more importantly, the Legacy of Kain, which they own. Legacy of Kain is significantly more important IP than Lord of the Rings ever will be. Lord of the Rings wishes it could be as relevant and as cool and as exciting as the Legacy of Kain.
I am not a Russian asset like Tim Pool. Don't say that. Siegfried, don't say that. Don't never compare me to Tim Pool ever. I'm shoot hot.
Tim Pool is the funniest man. I feel like every conversation would be, if I ever spoke to Tim Pool, the only thing I'd be saying over and over again is, show me your head.
Show me your head. Take off the fucking beanie.
Take off
the beanie.
Take your hat off. If you want to talk, be a normal human being. Take your hat off inside, and then we'll talk.
Give me your money.
I would destroy
blood money. You wiener with the weird beanie.
Yeah, but like, I feel this is a shame. Like, is there a new Metro game in the works? Presumably,
people have mentioned there's maybe a Metro VR game happening. Maybe still, I have no idea. That's not going to move the needle too much for me.
Come on,
listen. There's got to be a new Metro game, right? If this team's together. That last one did pretty well. It seemed like it kind of like took up the level of what that franchise was at. So yeah, I would probably guess that another Metro's in the works.
And Zen Studios are, for the pinball perverts, pretty good, right? Like I know that they I've not heard bad things about them.
Zen Studios does good work. There's a reason they've just been around and having people play all their various pinball tables, their digital pinball tables over and over. They do excellent work. Yeah, I like Zen Studios.
So I mean, I hope that they're able to make the games that they want to make, and I hope that they don't somehow. The issue here is, if they're not included in the sale here, it means that they are still like fodder for Embracer to do insane shit with, which is scary because Embracer is out of control. It has more money than sense, and it has like so many different masters to serve at this point. And that is a dangerous place to be when you're just trying to make some games and produce a cool thing for the world. You never know what's going to happen. Like, I feel like Embracer is the WB of the video game world, where you could very much be in a position where you make an entire game and they're like, no, we're not going to put this out. Oh yeah,
it doesn't even make a difference to them. So they
don't care.
All right, some tax benefit. They'll take that instead. Yeah,
I just don't. I want more game companies to be unembraced.
I think it was
and also like I also recognize that Embracer has people that work there that don't deserve to be like the subject of ire. And like I would hope that what would happen is like that company becomes normal, behave normally. Maybe protract a bit in what you're capable of and how much money you're throwing around and your endless need to acquire everything and just be normal.
Yep.
And hopefully that will put them in a better standing.
I think it was a pretty weird sign when it was like Saudi Arabia looked at Embracer and was like, maybe we won't give you money. It's like, wait, what? Like, Saudi Arabia investing in everybody they possibly can in the video game space, and Embracer wasn't good enough. What does that mean?
Never take Saudi money.
Yeah, well, tell that to Nintendo, Capcom, fucking everybody in the entire industry.
Don't do it.
Damn it. All right. So Super Mario Brothers Wonder Switch OLED bundle revealed for Australia and New Zealand. This is from Marcus Persson at Game Reactor. It's usually closer to the holidays we start hearing about Switch bundles, and a new package featuring Super Mario Brothers Wonder has just been announced. Well, at least in one territory. Over in Australia and New Zealand, the upcoming bundle will feature a white OLED system. Super Mario Brothers Wonder will technically be a digital copy as it comes pre-installed. Other than that, each unit gets a 12-month subscription to Nintendo Switch Online as well. This will launch on October 24th. And Nintendo's kind of trying to get to that 15 million number with the Switch this year. Bundles seem like the way they're going to do it instead of price cuts. Does that seem right to you?
Yep, definitely. I don't expect a price cut for that console, at least until a Switch 2 is available. At which point it'll probably get like a $5 cut or something like that. Or they'll put out a cheaper version of the Switch and just be like, we've removed everything.
the Switch Mini, like the Canadian Wii. Yeah.
It doesn't have speakers, headphones only.
Yep, no Wi-Fi.
Enjoy.
Yeah,
no Wi-Fi.
Yep.
But yeah, I feel like this is how, because they also, between this, Zelda, and whatever other first-party games they might have.
Super Mario Party Jamboree.
I'm sure there will be a bundle for that as well. They're just gonna all hands on deck, bundle until they reach that number.
Yeah, they re-disabled Bluetooth. That's right. Yeah. I think a bundle with recent games other than Mario Kart is probably the way to move things now. Because how do people still not own Mario Kart at this point? So many copies of that, like 65 million or some crazy number like that. So yeah, putting Super Mario Brothers Wonder in there, a different Mario game, that seems like it'll move the needle for them. Star Wars Jedi Survivor can run at 1440p and 30 frames per second on last-gen hardware. That's specifically the Xbox One X. This comes from Zach Swise and Kotaku, who just gives some of the details here. It's 1080p, 30 frames per second on PS4 Pro, 930 frames per second on the base PS4, and 720p, 30 frames per second on Xbox One. I would assume a lot of this is coming from optimizations and them like tuning a lot of stuff down, because that game just ran like crap on everything, PC and consoles included. So have you noticed, like, I started getting some like PR blasts about this game again, and it feels like they're almost like relaunching it in some ways.
Yeah, it does seem that way. I mean, I feel like part of it is also like making good on, the shoddy launch of that game, especially on last-gen hardware, just to avoid any sort of legal issues. Because like you can blink and you'll be class action lawsuit if you're not careful. Yep. And I imagine this is like buttoning up that kind of stuff. But also it probably helps them figure out, the issues that they were up against for whatever comes next. Star Wars Jedi Reviver. I'm going with Reviver.
Reviver's almost certainly it. Yeah,
definitely. But yeah, I have been getting some emails about it. To be honest, like I maybe I'll play it again or play some of it again. I started it and I was like,
I started and I didn't finish.
I think I'm just done with Star Wars. Like I saw a Star Wars and I was like, I'm all right.
Yeah, I was kind of in a down period with Star Wars when this game came out. Now I'm like definitely better. And if the game is running better, like it relaunch or launching it for the first time on these older consoles after having it on the current gen, and then doing all the work to make sure it can run on those consoles, to me that says, and the fact that it's 30 frames per second on the old consoles is kind of impressive. Sean was saying that. I agree. Like, I'm like surprised it's 1440p and 30 frames per second on Xbox One X. But to me, that should say, hey, maybe this thing runs okay on Steam Deck now, or maybe Roger Ally, and I can play it on there. And even if it doesn't, I bet it runs really good on my PC. So it just does make me curious again. And the fact that they are sort of treating it like a relaunch, I'm like, maybe it'd be worth my time if I played that this year instead of kept putting it off. So yeah, that might happen. And then finally, Sonic Team says they would love to do a Sonic Advance collection. This is from Jonas Mackey at Game Reactor.
I bet they would.
Yeah, they love to just do anything with Sonic at this point. Last year saw the release of the brilliant Sonic Origins Plus collection, which included the Hedgehog's Mega Drive and Genesis Classics and Sega CD game as well as Sonic titles from Game Gear. We gave the collection a very positive review and think it's a title that should be on every respectable gaming shelf, but there are still several games fans are asking for that weren't included. This includes the Sonic Adventure titles from the Dreamcast, but also
and Sonic Chronicles of Dark Brotherhood.
The Dark Brotherhood from the BioWare Corporation, and 3 advanced games released for the Game Boy Advance, which seem to be largely forgotten by Sega. But maybe there's a chance we can relive these classics once again. When VGC interviewed the Sonic Team boss Takashi Iizuka and asked about the matter, he replied optimistically that he would like to re-release them. There's currently no plans for Sonic Advance series to be remade or remastered, but we don't know what the future holds. Shigehara was a director on Sonic Origins, which took Sonic 1, 2, 3, and CD, and we remastered that and brought it out for fans to enjoy. And if we have the chance, if there's an opportunity for the Advance series to also get that treatment, or whatever circumstances may pop up, we'd love to do it.
Those are good games.
Yeah, those are good games that I think it could really benefit from some remasters that just zoom out the camera a little bit, right? Because the Game Boy Advance had a relatively low resolution screen, so they were zooming in pretty close. zoom it out a little bit and make sure that the game is just going to handle that properly, that seems like it'd be a pretty good time.
That would be a pretty good time. I don't think I played all of them, but I remember having a really good time with.
I remember people liking
one
them.
and two. I think it was.
Yeah, I remember people having good things to say about
the first two games. Yeah, Sonic Chronicles, on the other hand, whew, what a piece of shit.
Yeah, God, that was them. It was trying to be very Super Mario RPG, and it just kind of didn't work in a lot of ways.
I reviewed that for a website that me and Danny O'Dwyer were at the time, and God damn, that was like pulling teeth. I was like crying through that review. I was like, but it's BioWare. Why?
And I thought it like started off like, okay, they'll have some stuff and they'll make it into something, and it just kind of becomes a drag.
No.
It's a drag.
Anyway, yeah, let BioWare make another Sonic game. That would be really funny.
That'd be a good use. That would be a good use of their time for sure.
But yeah, hopefully this. I know there's a lot of Sonic weirdos out there, so there's a lot of new age Sonic weirdos out there that I'm sure have never touched the advanced games, which I think are some of the best.
And they
bunch,
look good.
So,
I like the way they look.
Yeah, I would love for those weirdos to be able to be a weirdo by playing these games.
Yeah, give weirdos more chances to be weirdos is what we say on the show.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see here. Poll question. I'll bring that up right now. Do you want PlayStation to make more family-friendly games? I said yes. So did 73% of respondents. 27% said, screw your family. They don't deserve anything.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I respect that.
Yeah, listen, they're entitled to their opinion or whatever. Kind of don't see how it hurts anybody. Kind of surprised that 1 out of 4 people are like, no, don't make more family-friendly games. I guess they're looking at it as a net zero sort of thing where if they get more family-friendly games, they'll get less of their awesome dude bro games with threesomes. And all right, fair enough. I get you have needs. All right, I'll have a new poll question for y'all in a second. Before we get to that though, Tam, where can people find you on the internet? What do you have going on? All that good stuff.
Well, you can find me Tamoor H on everything. You know, what do I have going on? I'm too many things probably. I'm still preparing to come back to Twitch at some point soon. I have just been bogged down in travel and assignments and my life falling apart slowly. But hopefully soon. But otherwise, UPF is happening at 11:30 a.m. PT-ish.
Really?
According to who is this? Is this Jan?
11:30.
Anonymous Goose. Thank you, Anonymous Goose.
11:30 a.m. Yeah, all right.
PT-ish, which I think is going to be the Space Marines.
Yeah, we're going to do multiplayer Space Marine 2, where 3 Marines could come together and kill Tyranids as bros. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah. Whenever I see the cover for Space Marine 2, that dude on the front looks like a straight up soccer dad.
Yeah,
he looks like he goes to his kids' sporting events and gets way too angry.
He looks like if you put American Dad realistic into AI, like that's what we would get spit out. Yes,
yeah, it's like someone who's put a poster of John Cena up in their gym.
Yes,
that is what he looks like.
Yeah, he looks like he attends PTA conferences just to yell at people.
Yeah, and you know what? He just really loves the Emperor. Good for him.
Yeah, I mean, listen, for the Emperor, 100%.
1,000,000%.
2:30 p.m. Eastern time, 11:30 a.m. Pacific time for that. Looking forward to it. Anything else? It doesn't look like there's a BCR this week. I'm run down from the travel. I'm glad Jan made that call. So we did kind of like do a couple there back to back when we had the one at PAX and the extra one last week for Astro. So yeah, give us a break, everybody. We'll do some from Space Marine instead. New poll question. How much do you think the PS6 will launch for? 500.
That thing's going to be 600. That thing's going to be $799
or 800 plus. That this thing is basically 800 once you put in the disk drive and the stand.
It's going to be $799 pre-tax. Mark my words. Clip it and ship it.
Tam, I think you're right. That's where I'm putting it. Although,
do you know what the funny thing is? The day before the Pro was released. Oh, no, announced, sorry. People were like, how much is it going to cost? And I was like, everyone's like, oh, probably about 600. I was straight up, I went, it's going to be $700 pre-tax.
Yep.
And then the next day they were like, this bitch is $700 pre-tax. And I was like, I knew it. I know when I'm about to be scammed.
Yep. And no disk drive, no stand. So $800. All right. Yeah. That poll question, we'll get the results of that on Game Mess Mornings on Giant Bomb on Monday. There's no reason we shouldn't do it on Monday. Yeah, on Monday. Looking forward to having a good full week of content next week. It'll be a good time. Bombcast will be back. Light Club should be back. Probably new Jeffs at some point, right? We got that all happening. So everybody just keep tuning in. In the meantime, Tam, thank you so much for hanging out with me today and talking about video games, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, as always. I'll see you again next week. Wait, am I traveling next week or the week after? No, I'm traveling the week after. I'll be gone for like multiple weeks, homeboy.
All right, well, we'll do 3 Dregs Day in a row, and then you take some time.
Here's what I want. Okay?
All right, tell me what you need.
I would like to nominate my replacement.
Oh, I loved it. I love this. Okay.
How about that?
Yeah, that sounds great. You should have the right to do that.
I would like the young Jordan Middler to replace me for a few weeks.
I will see if I can make that happen.
As stand-in.
Yeah, I'll see. Yes. He's a busy, important man these days.
He is busy. He is important. I trust him to be like on point with the news, but also to be annoying in the same way that I would be annoying.
I think that's fair.
So I would like to nominate Jordan Middler.
All right, that sounds good to me. We'll see if we get Jordan on the show next couple of Fridays after Tam is out.
Yeah.
Week after next. All right, let's see here. Anything else? I don't think so. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. You're the best audience in gaming. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye. And yeah, a MVC tournament sounds great to me.
Hell yeah.
All right, off of you.